Welcome to the Pull Aside Chat. I am Danveer Singh in conversation with Deputy Chief of the Indian Army, Lieutenant General Rakesh Kapoor. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, Danveer. Thank you for inviting me to your show. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to share some of my thoughts with you.
It's a great pleasure, sir. In fact, you have just concluded a very mega event, the Chiefs Conclave, to do with the contributing countries to United Nations peacekeeping. And you have been the work behind the whole show. So, what's your experience and what would you like to share with the audience as far as this mega event is concerned, sir?
Danvi, firstly, thank you for all the compliments that you're giving. It's been a pleasure being part of the team that has conducted this Chiefs Conclave of UN troop contributing countries. It has been an absolute collaborative effort with the Ministry of External Affairs, Ministry of Defense, various directorates of Army headquarters, and I think the team worked very well. It was well oiled, and the military precision was apparent when all the younger officers and people who were coordinating multiple events were actually doing with clockwork engagement with people in clockwork precision.
Yeah, absolutely, sir. In fact, senior military officers from 33 countries gathered under one roof. In fact, with the whomever I happened to speak with, they were all full of praises for the Indian Army and the effort that have gone into. Sir, moving on to the subject of United Nations peacekeeping, as we were discussing, sir, there have been some budgetary cuts. So, how do you look at United Nations peacekeeping in days ahead, sir?
Firstly, Danveer, it was wonderful to have participation from chiefs of troop contributing countries. And it was very important that the chiefs must personally come down. And the good part about this conclave was either it was a chief, or if he was constrained to come because of some commitments, they definitely send their vice chiefs. And what the Undersecretary General told us, this is the first time in the history of the United Nations that such a conclave has taken place. So that is also very heartening to hear. And they brought in lots of significant points in various discussions that they held along the conclave. But yes, you make a important point that there are budgetary cuts. There are likely to be budgetary cuts. But I'm an optimist. I think we need to use this as an opportunity. There are two, three ways we can use this as an opportunity. Firstly, reassess our priorities. And secondly, we need to create technology enabled units. You don't have to put in a conventional unit like the way we have been putting in the past. Maybe lesser manpower, more technology, bring in greater amount of effectiveness, better efficiencies in the mission areas. And I think India is on the cusp of putting such units across for peacekeeping.
So, in fact, taking cue from what you just mentioned about technology, today in the morning, External Affairs Minister of India, Mr. Jaishankar, spoke about that India is prepared to be the technology demonstrator through UN peacekeeping missions. So, I think it connects what you have just mentioned. Could you further elaborate, sir?
Two, 3 points on this. Firstly, over the past couple of years, we've ensured all our units that are getting deployed in United Nations peacekeeping operations are all wet leased. It's all Atmanirbhar equipment that is going out. And I would be happy to inform you, in conflict-ridden zones, our equipment has performed exceedingly well. In fact, it's been under other nations are seeking to see what capacities and capabilities our equipment brings. And it's a continued focus that whatever units we are sending overseas, they must be technology enabled. So, as part of this whole endeavor, yesterday when we took the members of this conclave to Agra, we showed them a technology enabled demonstration, what all new age technologies can do. There was man machine teaming, there was various ways new age technologies can perform the same task in a more efficient system. So that was the focus. The third thing is, I think the Indian startup ecosystem is very vibrant. So this afternoon, we are ensuring that the startup ecosystem also and the Indian industry gets an opportunity to engage with these various heads of delegation, and they're demonstrating what Indian capabilities are. Also, as part of this technology endeavor, we analyze the various pledges that nations make for UN peacekeeping, and I'm happy to inform you, that majority of that equipment, whether it is communication, surveillance, digital technologies, logistics, vehicles, the Indian ecosystem already has it, and our equipment is today proven, and it's evolutionary in development, and it will keep adopting and adapting to whatever the challenges that obtain in the mission area.
In fact, sir, at the venue, the display of various equipment by the startups gathered a lot of interest by visiting dignitaries that I could see. In fact, drones were a great star attraction. So, as Deputy Chief, what did you find? What was the thing that really enthused the delegates around, sir, as far as our technology show was there?
So they were particularly interested in drones because I think everybody is facing this challenge of drones and counter drones. So they are all particularly interested in that. They were also particularly interested in our developments in autonomous systems, that whatever we are doing, what are the systems that which enable man-machine teaming, what we could show to them, robotic dogs and all those equipment that we showed to them. They also showed interest in our capacities of digital technologies. So these were some of the interest areas, and communications. We have a robust communication architecture within our nation, and private industry brings a lot of value to that. So they showed interest in all these areas.
In fact, sir, at the inaugural, Defense Minister of India, Mr. Rajnath Singh, spoke about reform at the United Nations. As a major contributor towards peacekeeping missions, how do you look at that, sir?
Every entity, every institutional entity must do some soul searching. As times change, institution also has to change. So must the UN.
In fact, Indian Army is known for its dynamism and
So must
creativity
the UN.
and things like that.
The world has changed.
Yes, sir.
The whole world has changed. The participation and the subscription to the UN has changed. So there is a need for change, reform, which needs to be undertaken. How nations are represented at the UN is also very important, particularly troop contributing countries. They have to be inclusive about that. They have to be included in the mandate formulation because they are the ones who face the challenges of the mission area. And there has to be resource matching to the mandate. It can't be a all-encompassing mandate with limited resources. That has to change. Representations at various bodies of the UN have to be more inclusive. So the whole architecture of UN has to change. Be reviewed, and wherever changes are required, need to be incorporated. In fact, the Under Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Lacroix, he also mentioned about it, and he covered it over 3 pillars. If I was to quote him,
So,
there has to be a political understanding, greater unity. There has to be an operational understanding, security of the peacekeeper, security of people in the host nation. And the third pillar that he talked about was the financial aspect, how subscriptions have to be paid and what all needs to be done. As yes, alongside it is also a review on the processes. How effectively are we spending those budgets? And the good part about India, I'll just link that up.
yes, sir.
And we discussed this afternoon also. When we look at Indian technologies and Indian solutions, they're at 1/3 the cost. If I may just give you the example, our mission to Mars was $4 billion US, and I think the movie Gravity took $400 billion US. So that is the way our technology solutions are. So we come with competitive prices and competitive solutions.
So, my last question specific to the Chief's conclave, sir. As a Deputy Chief, what has been your takeaway, sir?
So The conclave has given us huge number of takeaways. But the most significant takeaway was I think there is a fair degree of common understanding and shared concerns, particularly amongst the troop contributing countries.
Thank you,
The
sir.
kind of challenges that they face. That is one. And we could see that emerging
Sir.
as each of the representatives of the nations gave their viewpoints. The second common understanding that we saw was technology is a key driver. Everybody is seeking technology. And I think there is a huge opportunity for India as a nation and Indian Army to collaborate in those fields. The third takeaway was the important and significant role that women play for sustainable peace and development. And lastly, the fourth takeaway which we learned during this conclave was there is a need for positive communication, positive narratives, particularly towards peacekeeping, so that the detractors do not diminish the efforts of the peacekeepers.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your valuable insight. So, this was Deputy Chief of the Indian Army, Lieutenant General Rakesh Kapoor, sharing his thoughts on United Nations peacekeeping. He also highlighted the importance of the Chief's Conclave and also underlined the importance of technology and women that they play in these kinds of missions. Stay connected and do share. Jai Hind.